Call Allah Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Call Allah Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Call Allah Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. I'll start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Kadash, giving double honor to the Apostle Elders Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to us pushing this truth and sincerity and Kwam Yasharala. To brother the Apostle Kadash, coming to you another lesson. And this time, give a little history on. So forth and so forth. But if we were in the ancient world, and let's say you grew up in Egypt, and you had the Egypt clothing, you had the the Egyptian tattoos, right? Your head was shaved. It didn't matter what your skin tone was. You would be considered. They would think you was a heathen. You know what I mean? Of course, they'd be able to read your spirit eventually and be like, "Oh, he ain't no heathen." But when you walk in the room, they'd think you was a heathen. A good example is that a good example of that is when Paul, when he spoke Hebrew, before he spoke Hebrew, they kind of was like coming against him. And then when he spoke in the Hebrew tongue, he told them, "I'm your brother from the tribe of Benjamin." So obviously, therefore, he said that for a reason. Not saying Paul had a whole bunch of heathen customs and stuff like that, but being an Israelite foreigner, of course, 9 times out of 10, we look at it for the skin tone. But being an Israelite foreigner goes deeper than just skin tone. Even like right now, majority of us were not raised in the truth. Unless you had a son 10 years, 14 years, you know what I mean? A brother that's been in this thing for a while. Majority of us were not raised in this truth. We were not. The scriptures talk about the ones that be born abroad. You know, meaning you was born outside of Israel, literally the landmass. All of us are Israelite foreigners at this point. All right, you wasn't no little kid being raised on don't eat shrimp, crab, lobster, pork. You wasn't no little kid and you was reading out the law, and you wasn't wearing fringes, you know, so forth and so forth. Right? But now that we do have the knowledge, you know, we use it, but we would still be considered Israelite foreigners. All right, and we can even talk about the New Testament where they was trying to like all the Israelites that was coming out of different captivities. They was coming out of different doctrines. They was coming out of the world. You know what I mean? You know, as to where the Jews that was brought up in the law, they was looking at them like heathens, but really they was still Israelites. They just had been brought up a certain way. It's almost like the suburban versus hood nigga narrative, right? But I'm gonna get into it. This is 1 Samuel 16:7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. Right? So first and foremost, when the Lord chooses somebody, it has nothing to do with their physical appearance. It tell you that in the scriptures. It talk about how the Lord, he don't take strength in the legs of a horse, basically talking about their power. The Lord don't really care about that, because he can make you strong or weak he control all things. Right? So, and this was back when Samuel was getting ready to choose the next king for Israel. And he looked over David. He looked at all the David brothers, but he didn't look at David because David was small. He was weaker per se. He probably was a pretty boy. You know what I mean? But he was a chosen vessel. It was his inward part. It's about to get into that. It say, for the Lord seeth not as man seeth. You know, as men, we see with our eyes carnally, right? Of course, we still see things spiritually, but majority of the time we see things, we could tell you got a red coat on, we could tell you got how you got your hair. The Lord is always looking at the inward man. It say, for man looketh on the outward appearance, like I was just saying, but the Lord looketh on the heart. You know, the Lord looking at your inward man. Who are you really? Because you could throw on a garment and claim to be an Israelite, but Israel. All right, you could throw on a dashiki and claim to be a Muslim. Nigga, that don't make you a Muslim. Just because you dress the part, you know, and the Lord, he see through all of that. You can remember all the precepts you want to, but the Lord gonna see through who is the elect and who's not, if you get what I'm saying, right? And the word countenance, it means sight, appearance, or what is seen. Stature means height, all right? This is 2 Corinthians 10:7. Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? Leviticus 26 and 33. Oh, Slakia. 2 Corinthians 10 and 7. Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? We not supposed to. Is it going up to look at somebody's outward appearance? No. But we're not supposed to judge matters based off of how somebody look. You know, you know, it'd be the spirit, but we really shouldn't be at camp. Somebody walk through, look at that fucking Edomite. You know how you know that's an Edomite? That could be an elect member. He just looked like an Edomite, a so-called white man. Right? This is Leviticus 26 and 33. And I will scatter you among the heathen. And the Lord said he was going to scatter us all the way back in Leviticus. And what happened when Jay gets scattered amongst the heathen? They pick up their traits. Do you think we was wearing skinny jeans, stacked jeans all the way back in the land of Israel? You think we was wearing mixed fabrics every day in the land of Israel? You think we was wearing hats that covered our crown and back? You know what I mean? It's certain things where we picked this shit up here. 3-piece suits, that was not a thing in the ancient world. That's something we picked up here. So when we scattered amongst the heathen, you pick up certain traits, and you even see over generations, niggas will forget they are Israelites. It says, and withdraw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. You know, desolate means desert of people. Look at Israel. It was a point in time period where no people lived there. It was a barren land until the Palestinians moved in, and then the gutter rats moved in. So this was prophecy. But the main thing I was getting at is when we were scattered amongst the heathen, we picked up different doctrines. We picked up different ways of life. So that's why when Jake come out of these ways of life, you got to be prepared to understand that that's still an Israelite. It don't matter if he was a book smart, street smart. It don't matter if the nigga did 50 years. It don't matter if the nigga come from the heights, from the suburbs. If he's willing to accept the Lord and repent, if he's willing to accept the word of the Lord, Salakia, and repent, he could be potentially a part of the elect. It don't matter. Nigga could walk into the camp with full face tattoos, body tatted up, motherfucking ankle monitor on. If the spirit is on him to repent, the spirit is on him to repent. And it don't matter if he look like a so-called white man. It don't matter if he look like a fucking. It don't matter if the nigga skin purple. All right, it doesn't matter. It says Isaiah 14 and 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. So the Lord, at the end of the day, the Lord gonna forever have his relationship with the Israelites. The Lord gonna forever choose us. All right, have mercy on us. It say, and set them in their own land, and the stranger. The stranger is not talking about the heathens. The stranger is talking about the Israelites born abroad. The stranger is talking about Israelite foreigners. All right, our whole nation gonna be from northern kingdom to southern kingdom, to the ones born at home, to the ones born abroad, to Israelite foreigners. He's gonna bring us all back together to be one big family. In so many words, it says, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. They're gonna be right back a part of it. We gonna be right back a part of it. All right, we was in the Greek customs, the Roman customs. Look at us now. We back in our right mind. We wearing our fringes. All right, we put down. We back in the dietary law. It's a certain lifestyle we live. That's what really make you an Israelite. Because like I'm going into, also, it's not about the outward man. It's about the inward man. And this is a good one. 1 Corinthians 12 and 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto those dumb idols, even as ye were led. Hey, at one point in time, we were Gentile. We were in a Gentile mind state. Was our blood tainted, as other camps will say? No, we were still 100% Israelites. There's no such thing as tainted blood. All right. But we were once called Gentiles, carried away to those, meaning we were once Gentiles. We had the Gentile mind state, and it's the key part. We were living ungodly lives. We were living like the heathens. That's why he said we were once Gentiles, meaning we came out of that Gentile mindset. We put away those idols. We put away the wickedness of this world, and we came back to the rightful Lord. All right. So with that, I hope that was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, or Kadash, giving double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings, much pushing this truth, sincerity, and Kwam Yasharallah.